I'm Linda Horikawa, and I'm not 10. I'm 84, and my dad was the first Japanese American to return from the relocation centers.
That is Linda Horikawa, my neighbor's grandmother, who has now become a lifelong friend. This is her story of forced displacement. I'm Ameya, and you are listening to Far From Home. A surprising thing that happened after I shared my grandfather's story of being exiled from his homeland, Uganda, was that many others in my community came forward with their own stories of forced migration. One person in particular left a permanent imprint on my heart because her story took place right here in San Jose many years ago. Miss Linda Horikawa and her family were among the 120,000 people of Japanese descent relocated to the internment camps during World War II. Miss Horikawa's dad is James Yamamoto, the first person to return to San Jose following his family's internment.
We lived in Cupertino. My mom and dad had a berry ranch. We had 7 acres and a home there. My sister and I and my grandpa and my mom and dad, we all lived together there. We had boysenberries, blackberries, strawberries. We were very happy there.
Following the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, there was a growing resentment towards Japanese Americans, many of whom were questioned about their loyalty to the United States.
They thought that the West Coast Japanese would help the Japanese country because we were of Asian extract. So all the Japanese on the coast were, by the executive order that Roosevelt signed, it was 9066. They decided that we should be in the relocation centers.
The War Relocation Authority was established by the U.S. government to manage the relocation of nearly 120,000 Japanese people to camps outside the West Coast. About 2/3 of the Japanese were U.S. citizens. San Jose State University served as a registration center for nearly 2,400 Japanese Americans, including 125 university students, before they were transferred to the internment camps.
My dad carried a crib under each arm to the train that took us to the centers because you can take only the things you could carry. We couldn't carry anything. Junie and I were little, and so Mom carried the suitcases, Dad carried the cribs, and then off we went.
As the camps were still undergoing construction, many Japanese Americans were first moved to temporary facilities for a few months before being sent to their final destination. Miss Horikawa's family was sent to the Santa Anita Racehorse Track in Arcadia, California.
When they first took us all to the Santa Anita racetrack, every family got one horse stall. And here we were living in a home with our own property and having a nice home. And we had to stay in a horse stall I think we were there for 3 or 4 months. And my sister was allergic to the horse pee that was left in all the stalls where they used to put horses. And we were living in there. We were treated like animals is right. Yeah. I'd never lived in a horse stall before. So,
following their detention at Santa Anita, Miss Horikawa's family was then transported to Heart Mountain in Wyoming, one of the 10 camps constructed to house the Japanese.
Once we got to Heart Mountain, Wyoming, you'll see these tall guard towers there, and the guns that they had were pointed in at us. We were in barracks. And we had one room, no running water, just a stove for heating. And we lived in tar paper shacks that they had built in long, long rows. And each family of 120,000 people lived in one room. They didn't have individual bathrooms or anything. It was just one big building with toilets along one side and sinks along the other side. And Japanese people tend to be very shy, and to walk into a huge room with all these toilets and no privacy. That's what it was like. It was like that. And that's why we very seldom talk about it. My mom and dad only talked about Heart Mountain, Wyoming, when we asked very pointed questions as we grew older.
The Supreme Court ruled in 1944 that no loyal citizen should be detained. This led to the eventual closure of the camps and the release of the Japanese Americans. In 1946, President Truman's Executive Order 9742 dissolved the War Relocation Authority, further enabling the Japanese to return to their rightful homes. Even though the Yamamoto family reclaimed their home, it wasn't easy to integrate back into their community.
There was prejudice, like kids would say to us, your eyes go like this. It affected my parents more. I saw that the joy that they had in life was kind of gone. They went back to work and kind of tried to forget about everything. And if you ask most Japanese Americans now, they'd say Shikata Ga Nai.
Yeah.
And it's something that happened and it's accepted. We didn't like it, but we followed along with it because we were good Americans.
San Jose, California is where I was born, and it is the only place I've ever known. I always thought of San Jose as a place of great cultural diversity, the home of Silicon Valley. But after meeting Miss Horikawa, I discovered there is much more to learn about our local history. Stories of forced displacement don't just happen in other countries. It can sometimes happen in our very own backyard. Her story is a reminder of the painful past that is not talked about often enough.
It's the bravery of my dad is the reason we're still here. And I get teary-eyed when I talk about it. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
But it was a bad time for us.
And it is the bravery of Miss Horikawa, who, like many of her generation, are willing to share those painful memories with today's generation, so that we may never forget.
And right now, life is good, and I'm happy with how things turned out. I'm grateful to my parents for all they put up with in life, trying to get us to where we are. So, I'm happy.